Hi, I'm Phyllis, southernfrugal.com. This afternoon we're going to fix a little casserole that's pretty much a full meal. And anyway, we're going to get started really quick. So the first thing I'm going to do is make a little white sauce to go in the casserole. And that's going to take 1/4 of a cup of butter, which is 1/2 of a stick. We're going to let that melt. And to this, we're going to add 1/4 of a cup of all-purpose flour. And we are going to use non-fat dry milk. And I've gone ahead and mixed it up, and we need 2 cups. And so what that requires is, let me turn this up while that's melting. We want 2/3 of a cup of non-fat instant dry milk. And I'm using that because this is going to be cooking in the oven, and I just feel better about it. That's why. All right. So our butter is just about melted now. And again, this is really a casserole that's a full meal. All right, we've about got it melted now. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and dump in 1/4 of a cup of flour, so equal amounts of butter and flour. Now we're not going to brown this, we're just going to get the flour all incorporated in there. Just let it kind of come up and start bubbling. Yeah, this is in lieu of using Campbell's condensed cream of whatever soup. And of course you could use the soup, but I really like this better. Alright, so all the flour's been incorporated in there. And now we're going to add our milk. It's just barely bubbling. Going to add our milk and just keep stirring it with the whisk. So now we're going to let this heat up and come just barely to a boil and allow it to thicken up because of the flour. All right, this shouldn't take hardly any time at all. All right, so this is going to be a tuna fish casserole. Now, if you don't like tuna fish casserole, you very well might like this one, because I used to not like it at all. But I do like this one. And so what you will need will be 2 cups of kind of rough chopped breadcrumbs, and you want to toast them. Now the way I did this is I had, of course, some of that French bread in the freezer from Walmart, so I just cut off 4 slices about 3/4 of an inch thick and still frozen now. And I just put them on the little tray and put them in the toaster oven on bake and broil. So it toasted both sides of the bread at once. Then I put them in the my little Hamilton Beach food processor, just pulsed it 2 or 3 times, and you've got the kind of rough cut breadcrumbs. So we're going to need that for the casserole. Let me keep stirring this while I'm talking. And also you're going to need some celery, and I've got probably just over a 1/2 cup, and that took, I think it was 3 stalks of celery. I also did that in the food processor by cutting it up into little strips and putting it in the food processor and just pulsing it a couple of times. And that caused it to get in little pieces. Let me show you what it looks like. Yeah, so I don't have any big pieces and certainly no strings in there. The other thing we need is a cup of sharp cheddar cheese shredded. All right, this sauce is just about to get thick enough. Now this is just a regular white sauce. There it is. I'll let y'all look at it a little closer. It's just before boiling. Now if you're using whole milk, you don't want it to boil at all. All right, I'm going to take this off the burner right now because I don't want it any thicker than that. All right, so we're ready to mix up the tuna casserole now. And what I have done is I've got 3/4 of a cup of those little peas. I just put a couple of spoonfuls of water in the bottom of them, cooked them in the microwave for about 3 minutes. You can actually put them in this casserole frozen, not even cooked, but I decided to go ahead and cook them. And the other thing that you will need, and this is for the topping of the casserole, is toasted almond slivers. And the way I did that is just put a couple of pats of butter in the bottom and just put them in the toaster oven and just left them in there maybe, I don't know, 10 minutes or so on about 400, just to barely get the little slivers brown. Alright, so we're ready to mix this up now, and I'm going to go ahead and do it on my stove so y'all can see, and I don't have to move the camera. Alright, so we're going to take a big bowl, and we're going to add our tuna fish. Now, what I do with this tuna fish is the Bumblebee chunk white Albacroe tuna. Can y'all see that? And I just like this best. I definitely like the chunk. So I'm going to take that out. Just kind of break it up a little bit, but don't break it up too much. And then what we're going to do is put the juice of 1 lemon on this. I'm just going to squeeze it all around. Oops. Y'all hear the little dogs pitter-patting around the kitchen because as soon as they hear me cooking, they come to the kitchen. Alright, so that's the juice of 1 lemon, or excuse me, 1/2 of the lemon. Alright. Just going to mix that around, kind of break those up, but you don't want to break these sections of the tuna up too much, just a little bit. You don't want a great big chunk in there. I'm going to have a spoon to do that. Again, you don't want them too big of a chunk. Alright, that ought to do it. Alright, so now we're ready to put the rest of our ingredients. I'm going to go ahead and dump in the ground up celery, and that's about 3 stalks, or about a good half a cup. So I'm going to dump that in. And we're going to go ahead and dump in our 1 cup of shredded sharp cheddar cheese. Now, I don't shred my cheese in the food processor, and the reason I don't is because it gets all in that lid and I have to hand wash it, and I really prefer to put the food processor in the dishwasher. Alright, get that broken up a little bit. And now we're going to go ahead and add our peas. That's 3/4 of a cup, and I used frozen peas. Now we're not going to add any salt to this, none whatsoever, because there's actually salt in the bread, and there's certainly salt in the tuna fish. So just mix that up really good. Alright, so next we're going to add 1 little, let's see how many ounces, a 2-ounce can of diced pimentos. And what I did was drain them by simply holding my fingers in there and kind of getting out a lot of the water. So I'm going to dump those in. That's going to give it some color and a little bit of taste. Now I've got my oven preheating to 350 degrees, and this is going to cook for about 30 minutes. Now basically everything in here is already cooked. All right, so now we're ready to dump in our breadcrumbs. And these are kind of chunky breadcrumbs. They're not all ground up completely. When I say chunky, I mean you've got kind of chunks like that. All right, already smells really good. Now I use the French bread and toast it for the breadcrumbs just because it is so good and it just smells really, really good. All right, now I have got I think this is a 7.5 by 9.5 or 10.5 Pyrex casserole dish, and I've got it well buttered. All right, so we've got this mixed up pretty good. And now all we need to do is add the white sauce. So I'm going to mix that up again and dump it in. Get all that out of there. All right, so now all we have to do is just incorporate our semi-dry ingredients into the white sauce. And I just like this a lot better than using cans of soup. But I do realize that that makes life easier to use like the cream of celery or cream of mushroom soup. But this is going to taste a lot better. All right, you just want to get it incorporated. All right, I think that's good enough. And we're going to dump this in our Pyrex casserole dish. It's real pretty with the red and green colors. All right, let me get the rest of that. And again, now you can add certainly pepper and more salt. Now I have not put any salt in it simply because the bread's going to have salt in it, the tuna's going to have salt in it, and so is the cheese actually. Alright, now all we have to do is put the little toasted slivered almonds on the top. And we're going to, again, baking this in a 350-degree oven for about 30 minutes or until it's a little bubbly. And you do want to make sure you brown your or toast your almonds ahead of time, because they're not going to get much more toasted on the casserole in just 30 minutes because you've got a lot of liquid in the casserole. Alright, so this is like a high-class tuna casserole in my opinion. Alright, we're going to cook it for 30 minutes and we're going to be back because I'm going to make a little type of dressing for the salad. We'll be back. Alright, I kind of got my area cleaned up and we're back and we're going to make, really it's going to be a beet and orange salad dressing, but we're going to have a whole can of sliced beets, and this is the 15-ounce can of just regular sliced beets. And what I do is pour the water out and then rinse them a couple of times and pour that water out. And so now, let me turn this down a little bit. What we're going to do, I've already got my burner on, so let me move that pot off a little bit. Just take a knife and go in there and just kind of slice them up a little bit. Like that. Right in the can. There might be some on bottom that didn't get all sliced up, but we'll deal with that when we dump them out. Alright, so what we're going to do is put in 2 tablespoons of sugar in our pot. and 1 heaping tablespoon of cornstarch. About like that. Put that in. Then we're just going to mix this around a little bit. And we're going to add to that 1 cup of the Tropicana orange juice. Now this is the kind Mr. Bucky drinks, and it's the kind that I used on those carrots, and it was so good. I also used, and we've already gotten another bottle since then. I actually buy them 2 bottles at one time, really. But I actually used it for the orange meringue pie, too. I just love the orange taste that it gives. So we're just going to stir this around. And I've got it on sort of a little notch or so above medium heat. We're going to stir it around until it thickens up a little bit. Shouldn't take it long. Alright, so it just shouldn't take too long. Anyway, we'll be back when this gets thick. We'll be right back. Alright, we're back, and our little orange juice, sugar, and cornstarch mixture has come to a boil, and of course it's all thick now. So we're going to go ahead and dump in the sliced dates that I cut up a little more. That's all of them. And I do see a couple that didn't get cut up, so I'm just going to use the scissors on them, cut those up. And there we go. So just going to mix that up. There's another one that didn't get cut up. There. Alright, so we're just going to let this come back to a boil. And then we're going to let it cool down, because we're going to use it on top of baby spinach. That's going to be our salad. Let me let you have a closer look at that. Yeah. So we're going to let it cool down. And if it gets too thick while it's cooling, I'll just add a little more orange juice. So just want to let it come right up to another boil real fast. And then we'll be ready. All right. There it is. It's already boiling, so that's good. All right, we'll be back when all this is ready, y'all. All right, we just took the casserole out of the oven. It's still bubbling a little bit. So we're going to let this cool, and I'm going to get the salad on the plates, the tea ready, and we'll be back and show you what it looks like on the plate. It's a rather pretty casserole, I'll have to say so myself. All right, we'll be back, y'all. All right, we are ready to eat, and I went ahead and put the orange and beet dressing on the little baby spinach. It's actually baby organic spinach. And there's the casserole. I've already tasted of it. It is quite good. And of course, there's my plate. And there's Mr. Bucky's plate. We've got our iced tea, and we're ready to eat. I'll leave the recipe for the casserole down below, and also that recipe for this, which is really delicious. It greatly enhances the taste of the beets using that orange juice. All right, y'all, we will see y'all next time. Bye for now.